Welcome, ghouls, ghosts, mere mortals on this dark and stormy night to the Hidden Creek Manor. That's right, it actually is a dark and stormy night here at the Hidden Creek Manor. I tried to wait for the rain to pass by because it's kind of messing with the audio, but you guys might get to hear some thunder and lightning, or I guess you don't hear lightning, but you guys might get to hear some thunder, hopefully. It'll maybe add to the ambiance of the video. If not, maybe I can add some in post. That was some acting right there for you guys. But anyway, as you guys can see, there is a guest on the show today. This is our skeleton mermaid from our pirate ship in Kraken's Cove, and this gal has seen some better days. She needs a makeover. So on tonight's episode, that's exactly what we're going to do. We're going to give our friend here a makeover. So let's get to it. So I had to deconstruct her a little bit to get her in here. Originally, her hands were above her head, tied up together with this old rope. You can see it's definitely seen better days. And you can see there's definitely some wear and tear on her, but also just this kind of bronze color without any details. She just blends into the ship, I feel like, the way she is now. So that's the top. I'll show you the bottom. And what I did essentially is I took the top half of a skeleton, and then for the bottom half, I connected actually a snake skeleton. I got this double-headed snake skeleton from Spirit Halloween just for this piece. And then I attached it to a board underneath, and that board will attach to the ship. But then for the, I guess, I don't know what you would call these within a mermaid skeleton, or what these would be. And if you guys know and want to leave in the comments, go for it. But for these I actually used, it was like tomato steaks that I cut and to different sizes to simulate going down. And then I used skeleton bat wings for the tail. So what I really want to do is, on the tail at least, use some pool noodles that I want to put pieces of pool noodle over these and make them a little bigger, give them some more definition, hopefully make them look more like bone. And then I think I'm going to do a coat of some dry log over these. And then I want to paint it, the whole thing black. So for that I got some satin black spray paint. So I'm going to coat the whole thing in that black spray paint, and then I'm going to try a new method that I learned from watching a video by Wicked Makers, and I will share that with you guys in the comments section, so that way you guys could watch that one if you want. But essentially what I'm going to do is I'm going to use some gold spray paint. I'm going to spray over it and then wipe it off very quickly to give it a weathered, textured look, hopefully. And then I'm going to finish it off with some clear coat to seal in those paints. And finally, I'm going to replace the rope with a fresh rope, and we're going to hot glue it around her wrists. So let's get to it. All right, guys, let's try this again. So I had actually done a couple of these. I thought I was filming myself, but I wasn't. And so let's do this one more time. So we are, well, as you can see here, putting extra foam on these to make them look a little bit more like bone. I know they don't look like it right now, but I think once we get further on in the project, you'll see where we're going with this. But we're using a pool noodle for this step. And in addition to that pool noodle, you will need something to mark off on the pool noodle where to make your cuts. Something to cut with. I'm using scissors. You can use scissors, X-Acto knife, whatever floats your boat. And I am using some, listen, I don't know if it's barg or barge. I've heard it referred to both ways. I say barge. Maybe I'm wrong. If you guys know, feel free to let me know phonetically in the comments section how I should be pronouncing this. But anyway, I'm using this to attach the foam to the mermaid tailbones, whatever they're called. Like I said before, if you guys know what these are called, let me know. But it's really easy, actually. So I'm going to move this out of the way. And we'll go ahead and do this one that's a little bit longer. And really all we're doing is kind of laying the pool noodle at first. We're going to go next to it, and I go all the way as far as I can go here. And just mark off the top of it. You know, oops, actually I need to do it a little bit more to the side. That's where we're going to be cutting. Just mark out the top of it. And now that we've done that, we're going to put it underneath to kind of give it a shape. And since I'm not going to make 2 cuts, I'm just going to use that one. So I'm just going to kind of draw down to there. And draw all the way down to there. So now I know where to make my cuts. Switch to the scissors. And just cut along the line. And what's nice is it doesn't have to be perfect. I mean, these are pool noodles. We're simulating bone. And, well, first off, bone isn't going to be perfect, but also, uh-oh, looks like I got a bad cut there. But anyway, also, no one knows what a mermaid bone looks like. It could be anything. So this should still work. We'll see. But I've got my piece here, and if it doesn't work, I've got a backup plan. I'm going to stick it here, and yeah, that's good. That's actually, that works out real well. But now, it does have these kind of harsh lines, and we don't want that. So, just going to take our scissors, whoops, and kind of round it out a bit. Just be careful not to cut yourself when you're doing this. I think that's good enough. Maybe a little more over here. Yeah, it's good enough. Like I said, it's going to be bone. I want it to be perfectly at the end. I keep trimming it. I'm going to go too far. There we go. It's good. So, we're going to use the rubber cement. Or just cement, whatever. This is old. If you buy this brand new, it will probably not be this kind of gooey. But I've had this for a few years. I bought it back when I was making some puppets, actually. If you guys want to know how to make puppets, let me know. We can make a puppet video. There's a lot of YouTubers out there that can do a much better job than me, but if that's something that you guys want, let me know. But anyway, so normally, if I wasn't making a video, I would let this sit here and dry for, I don't know, like 5 minutes, because it gets a little more tacky, a little more sticky, especially if you're gluing foam to foam. But since we're gluing it to a harder surface, we can go ahead and stick it on there. That way you guys don't have to sit here and wait. I mean, I guess I could do like one of those clock swipes, but whatever. We're going to go ahead and put it on. It's not really going to hurt anything. Once it's dry, and it'll be nice and secure. So we just want to kind of stick it on there. One more thing, guys, is if you're working with this stuff, you guys can't see, I've got a door on the other side of me that is open. But you want to do this in a well-ventilated area or wear some type of respirator because it can be a bit pungent and we don't want to harm ourselves. And there we go. That's it. We've got 3 done so far. And as you can see, these 2 are not going anywhere. They're nice and stuck on there. This one will be the same once it dries. I'm not going to make you guys watch me do the rest of this. Hopefully you get the idea. So we're going to go ahead and stop here. Maybe I will do one of those clock wipes. And next time you see this, it should be done. Or at least it should have all the pool noodles cut into mermaid bone things. Tail, ribs, fins, whatever. So before we start actually painting the foam, I wanted to put a light coat of Drylock over it just to make sure that the spray paint doesn't eat at the foam, first of all, but secondly, to kind of fill in some of those foam pieces. And I definitely want the bone to have a textured look, but I also don't want it to look like foam either. So by coating it in Drylock, we're both making sure that the spray paint doesn't eat away at it, but then also to make sure that we can make it look a little bit more like bone and a little bit less like a pool noodle. And now that all the prep work is complete, we can get to spray painting. So I hung our mermaid friend up on a shepherd's hook so I can get full coverage of spray paint. I don't have to paint one side, let it dry, paint the other side, let it dry. Just speeds up the process a little bit. Now that I've got it hung up, I'm just spray painting it with a satin black. I didn't want it to be too shiny, but I also didn't want it to be quite a matte black. I wanted it to have a little bit of shine to it. So I went with the satin here and just did one coat of paint. I wasn't really too concerned if I didn't get total coverage over the parts that were already that brass color, because having that kind of show a little bit mixed in with the black and gold will give it a little bit more of a textured look. I'll make it look a little bit older, I guess. The main areas I really wanted to cover, though, were those fin bones that we still don't know the name of, that I used the pool noodles on, because we definitely do not want that greenish color to come through. So I'm trying a brand new technique that I've never done before, and I mentioned earlier it's a technique that I learned from watching a Wicked Makers video. But instead of, say, painting it on using a brush and kind of lightly painting it on and then having a little bit more time to rub it off if necessary, with this technique you use spray paint, and you just keep a paper towel with you, and you have to be very fast. I learned this pretty quickly, but basically you just do a light dusting with your spray paint and then immediately wipe it with that paper towel. And the outcome looks kind of like a weathered gold in this instance, because I've got those black and bronze undertones already. So if I just do a light spray with the gold, wipe it off as quick as I can, it gives that desired effect of it being an old, weathered mermaid that's been on the front of this pirate ship for quite some time. Now, admittedly, this is my first time doing this technique, so there was a learning curve. This probably isn't the best I will ever be at this technique, but you guys are along for the ride on this journey, so we'll learn together. One thing I would say, though, if you're going to try this at home, is first off, test it in an area that might not be seen whenever you have it out in your haunt, just in case you make mistakes. But secondly, start off light. Just do a very quick burst of spray paint and wipe it off very quickly, kind of get the idea of how this works, and then you can start to get a little bit more liberal with the paint. Now with the skull, for example, I probably got a little bit too much gold in the eyes. I really wanted to make them a little bit darker, so I might touch those up with some black spray paint. But as far as like the teeth and the nose, this turned out really well because I could just wipe it over the top of it, which gives it that grungy look where it looks like it's been worn over the years and that gold is kind of faded. Now, one thing I did not get on camera that I went back and fixed were the eye sockets. Typically they would be darker, and I wanted them to draw a little bit more attention, so I went back with just a couple sprays of black spray paint just inside the eye sockets to break up some of that bright gold that I couldn't really wipe very well using the paper towel. And then for the tail, because it's kind of foam with that dry lock texture, it's not great really to rub over it with the paper towel. So I just did kind of a light spray of gold to start off real basic here, and then just got a little bit heavier to kind of match the rest of the skeleton. And then of course I would wipe off like the spine as I was spraying gold on that to give it that same weathered look. Alright, and the final step in the painting process is the clear coat. So I went with a semi-gloss clear coat. I went with that because I didn't want it to have a matte finish, but I didn't want it to be too overly shiny. So my thought process is a semi-gloss should accomplish what I want, where it makes that gold shine a little bit more. And also with it being a
semi-gloss, will make it look a little bit shinier, but then also might make it look like it could be wet, which would make sense being on the front of a pirate ship. But most importantly, the real reason I'd like to do the clear coat is just to protect it. It's going to be outside for a month at a time every year, in the elements, in the rain, in the sun, so we want to do as much as we can to preserve this, to make it last as long as possible.
All right, guys, we have made it to the end. It's the final step. It is time to put the ropes holding her hands together back on her. And essentially what happens is, once we get her hands together, I've got the actual PVC pipe from the boat just to use as a reference. So I want to make the rope loop big enough to fit her hands and then around that piece. So should be pretty easy. Just as a reference, this is the rope that was on her previously. This is the new rope we're putting on. Obviously, this one's seen better days. We got my hot glue gun at the ready, even though it doesn't want to stand up. Oh well. So yeah, let's get started. So I'm not sure if I want to stick with the same length or not. Might make it a little bit longer. I'm going to use the old rope as a reference. Oops. And we'll just cut this. Yep. So we just want to make sure, like I said, it's big enough. So I'm going to take some hot glue and get this started. The wrist over here. Once that's pretty much dry, I'll start just to continue to wrap it. And we'll put some more hot glue, hold the rope against itself. Now we're just going to put a few spots here and there to keep it together. And we'll put some spots on the mermaid to make sure that the rope stays in place. All right. And that's it, guys. We are done with this project. Let me take that out. Hands are tied. She's nice and painted. I might use a little bit more hot glue on this, but you guys don't need to watch that on camera. So, tell you what, let's take a look at the final results. Alright guys, that's going to do it for this project. I hope everyone enjoyed it. If you like this video and like some of the other videos that we've put out in the past, might want to consider subscribing to the channel. Helps us out, and you'll be notified if new videos come out, so it's a win-win. But anyway, video's over. So happy haunting, and we'll see you in the next one. Okay, good enough. Good enough. Good enough. It was good. It was good. It was good enough.
Congratulations. You made it to the end of the video. As a reward for sticking around, you may now watch one of these two videos. The choice is yours, but choose wisely.